I saw an article for Connor Letourneau headline just hit my timeline. Why the Warriors? What does this say here? Why the Warriors should move off from Jordan Poole. That is the headline. That is the headline. Now, Steve Kerr said yesterday in his presser, and then on with Willard or Dibbs, that he doesn't want to move off from Jordan Poole. He thinks he's one of the foundational six. So that's where Steve Kerr stands with that. However, somebody's going to – I don't know if Jordan Poole and Draymond Green – Jordan Poole's sitting back listening to everything, saying that the punch ruined everything. And can he forgive Draymond Green? If it didn't happen within the season, how's it going to work next all season?
Are there too many cooks in the kitchen in terms of like the foundational six? Doesn't that like I don't know? Is that too many?
No, because we always had
you get
six.
Where I'm going with that?
I do, but you always had six, right?
Yeah.
Because you had death lineup plus.
Yeah, but you had a pecking order. Like you had Sean Livingston, for example, understood where he was in his career.
So you're basically saying you don't think people know their pecking order.
I do believe that there is some muddy because like you have some decline on one end and then you have ascension on the other. So I think there's a natural tug and push.
So I think you have the six, but you're basically saying that you don't know if the six know where they stand on the pecking order.
Yes, basically. The alignment of the six.
Right.
The alignment of the six, and I hate to use the word hierarchy like it's some monarch, but there is a pecking order, and I do believe that the pecking order is all over the place. Well, like right now, does Andrew Wiggins' most clearly defined twos on most teams are on at least it feels that way. It's pretty clear.
Right.
It's pretty obvious.
It's Murray Jokic. It's AD LeBron. It's Tatum Brown. It's Jimmy Buckets.
Steph's one.
Right.
Who's two?
Yeah, we don't know. It's different on any given day.
Well,
and it was different during the championship run.
It was. I wanted it to be Andrew Wiggins, and I think there's a great sports argument. Can he be your number two? Well, if you have a great number three and a great number four and a great number five and stuff, you can have him. But I think a lot of people around the country be like, ew, Wiggins is your two?
But as the season played out a year ago,
but he was
Andrew Wiggins was that number two.
That's what I'm saying.
He was that number two in the NBA Finals. And you know what? Earlier before he suffered, people forget, he was on a roll.
I know.
Before he suffered the right adductor strain.
I think his absence this year for personal and the injury is as much of an issue for the team in terms of building chemistry and the inconsistency of roles as anything. I know the punch, and we can talk about chemistry, but also the absence of Wiggins was also part of the chemistry. I don't think people really want to throw that into the gumbo pot.
It ruined Jonathan Kuminga because Steve Kerr admitted yesterday that GP2 and Wiggins being here basically blocked Jonathan Kuminga from touching the floor in the playoffs. Now, Andrew Wiggins, in the first 22 games of the season, before the right adductor strain, I think people forget this because I hear a lot of people say Andrew Wiggins had a terrible season. He was awful all year. That's not true. The first 22 games of the season, people forget this. And we talked about this a lot.
Because they were losing.
First 22 games of the season, Andrew Wiggins, 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, but it's the efficiency. 45% from three, 51% from the floor. He was hitting 3 threes a game. In the first 22 games of the season, Wiggins was making 3 threes a game.
It felt like a lost year for him, though, once the abductor injury happened.
First 22 games, we were saying he's returning to the All-Star game.
I thought he was going to.
He was going to go from Cleveland to Salt Lake City.
Wow.
He was.
I know.
And then he suffered the right adductor strain, and he got sick.
Right, he got sick.
And he missed 15 games.
Honestly, I forgot about him getting sick.
He got sick, didn't have his rhythm, and then all of a sudden it felt like, okay, the last 4 games before he stepped away for 25. The previous 4 games, before he stepped away for the last 25 games of the regular season, you look at the guy, 18 and 10, 12, 29 and 7. It felt like he was starting to come into his own. And then, boom, he's out for the next 2 months of the season. So he couldn't develop any chemistry. But if the incident in the preseason doesn't happen, does he come back sooner? Because now I've got all kind of questions. When Steve Kerr says, hold on, Steve Kerr, this is what he said about the punch. If this didn't factor into it, I think anything's on the table.
I think there was some of that was lost this year for sure. There's no hiding from it. The incident with Draymond and Jordan at the beginning of the year played a role in that. It's hard for that not to impact a team, and so we feel like we have a great group of people on the roster, on the coaching staff, in the front office. We have a way of doing things that we're very proud of, but those things were definitely challenged this year. Anytime some trust is lost, then it makes the process much more difficult. And there was some trust lost, and that's as blunt as I can be. So the only way to try to correct course is to continue to communicate with players and coaches, and those relationships have to be built. The bonds have to be built. I think that's a major focus for us this offseason is we have to get back to what has made us really successful, which is a really trusting environment and a group that relies on one another and makes each other better.
So is it that easy just to reset and come back next training camp? Because the question's not going anywhere. The question is not going anywhere to Draymond Green or Jordan Poole. The question is going to be there, can they get along and build that trust again? Can Jordan Poole ever trust Draymond Green? Can he ever build that relationship that they once had or rebuild that relationship? I don't know. And with all the videos and all the cartoons and all the memes of Jordan Poole getting punched by Draymond Green, I don't know if that helps anything because that's not going away. And I'm not even being overly dramatic.
No.
The coach just said it yesterday.
Yeah.
And before you started, Shasky, Draymond Green joined Stephen A. during the Western Conference Finals. Game number 1, Lakers Nuggets. Here's what Draymond Green said on whether or not the Warriors should still be playing.
We're not playing right now because when you speak about the fouling, when you speak about all of the slippage that we had as a team on the road, not being able to come together, none of those things happen if that doesn't happen, because the voice that I am and the departments that I lead this team in, there was a ton of slippage due to me sitting back, me not saying anything, me trying to allow that situation to play itself out and giving it time to heal. Well, while you're giving it all of that time, guess what? I would say probably by February, I started to feel like myself again and speak more. But guess what? There was 5 months of a season where slippage has just been occurring. And by February, if that slippage has been going on that long, you are who you are. At that point, you've built those habits. You've built bad habits. That is who you are now. So to try to correct them then, it's like, okay, you may get a little better. We did. We ended up in the second round of the playoffs, but not at a championship level.
So, Mustafa Ward, Draymond is just being real and y'all being soft.
Well,
we're being soft, but Steve Kerr, Draymond Green just admitted that incident in the preseason affected the entire season. But we're the ones being soft.
Well, and they're spending all their energy on that.
No, after the season.
But this is my biggest frustration with the whole thing. Listen to how much energy Kerr and Draymond have had to put in after the season's over on this. Now imagine what they had to maintain
throughout the season.
Okay. And what you're not doing is focusing on how horrific some of their half-court possessions were in the final 8 minutes of a game, which is what the Denver Nuggets are doing right now because they're unified, right? They're worried about actual X's and O's and what's going to work to actually beat the Lakers. We're over here worrying about if guys can actually coexist in the same locker room.
There you go. And
am I wrong?
No, you're not. And Mustafa said bad habits were built. Why were bad habits built? Because of the incident in the preseason. Because Draymond Green couldn't be Draymond Green because of the incident. What's so hard about grasping that? Steve Kerr just admitted to everybody in the 32-minute presser, yes, the incident has something to do. And if I'm sitting there as Joe Lacob, as the owner of the team, I'm saying, damn, we couldn't get this handled within the season. This derailed, basically this hovered over our season, and we built so many bad habits because of the incident that we weren't able to become a championship team, and therefore we lost in the second round of the playoffs, despite me spending over $400 million on this basketball team. And, by the way, now I have not only questions about the trust factor, and the camaraderie as well, but also I don't even know who Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody is. And I had to give up on James Wiseman already because of that incident.
And nowhere in any of those things have you heard any empathy for Jordan Poole.
Wow.
No, I'm trying to look at it from Jordan Poole's perspective.
No, I know.
And I'm saying to myself, like, at no point, not only did he get punched in the face, and as Joe Spadoni said very eloquently this morning, he felt like he got disrespected and slapped in the face publicly without having the back of the guy. And like, at no point has anyone asked, like, what does he feel? Why is he not getting any kind of support?
Well, you hear whispers that Jordan Poole wasn't happy.
How could you be?
That they went out there and talked about the video more so than Jordan Poole getting socked in the jaw and being all over TMZ, where over 50 million people, I don't even know how many people have viewed the video now. I know there's 30 million the first weekend who viewed the video. Probably 100 million people watched this thing. And now you got memes and everything. So the fact is that the incident did derail the season. They're telling you that. So how are we being soft? This is their words.
Well, and the one thing that I'm really tired of hearing, what did Jordan do to get punched? But like we're adjudicating the whole thing. So
you
don't physically touch people in the workplace. I don't care if it's sports.
Stop for a second, Shasta.
Come on.
Stop for a second. Because you're right.
I see that a lot.
No, it's everywhere. My boys are texting it to me in my hoop chat. Shout out to my hoop chat. You guys know who you are. Chuckzilla, Victor, front office, all you guys. You guys know who you are. I got to say their names. You know,
they got to feel it. I know.
I got to feel it. Yeah. But they're saying, well, Jordan Poole should have probably said what he said to get punched. Well, how do you know what Draymond Green said to him to make Jordan Poole respond to the way, what makes it appropriate? What makes it appropriate?
And we don't understand the maybe days, weeks, or months of things that lead into it. Whenever you see a fight on the street.
Wait a minute. Poole's getting the pass? Poole got socked.
And humiliated publicly.
Right. So what makes it appropriate?
And I feel, if it's just me, my interpretation from afar, it felt like he's been on a floaty in an island all by himself all year. So outside of Kevon Looney, it feels like having tremendous empathy for him. I can't think of too many guys that it feels like to me have had his back. Now, again, that's just my feel.
Right.
That's just my feel.
So you got Mustafa. I'm going to pick on Mustafa Ward here. You know, he was talking about his mama. How do you know that?
I mean, come on. Now you're just speaking.
Now you're just saying you're reckless. You're listening to Twitter. You're listening to rumors. You're reading the wrong blogs. How the hell you know what Jordan Poole said? And is that worthy enough to get socked in the face? Oh, man, you talking about my mama. So I'm a soccer teammate. We heard from Eddie Johnson.
Yes.
We've heard from Kevin Durant.
Yes.
We've heard from multiple players. I've talked to multiple players at Chase Center, multiple coaches. Things like this just don't happen. All right? This ain't the 80s. This ain't the 90s. This is an entirely new generation.
Well, it's a corporation. I know there's machismo, and I know there's a locker room, and I understand there's all of that, but it's also a corporation, and you need to, like, in the same way that we look at Ja Morant and we're saying that's unbecoming of someone who's the face of a corporation. It's also unbecoming of one of the pillars of your organization to knock somebody's lights out like that.
And how about this? Draymond Green mentioned this. I don't remember when this interview was, but Draymond Green mentioned, he goes, I love Jordan Poole because when he got here as a rookie, he was talking a lot of trash, and the veterans are like, who is this kid talking trash? Oh, my gosh. And Draymond Green said, if you can't handle him talking trash to you, then you don't,
the whole league talks trash.
But Draymond Green basically applauded Jordan Poole for having that confidence in talking trash. Now, all of a sudden, a little trash talk to Draymond Green, and he can't handle it? The biggest trash talker on his team? Wait, that doesn't make sense, right? Does that make any sense to you, Shasky? You applaud the guy for talking trash to other veterans, but all of a sudden he talks trash to you, and that warrants you socking Jordan Poole and derailing the basketball season?
There's no excuses.
Come on, man.
No, there's no excuses. But the thing is, it's like, I just keep going back to Draymond going on an apology tour and then basically telling everyone the reason that they lost is because he lost his voice and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's on you. That's accountability, which you're not taking again in this circumstance. And then secondarily, that also takes the onus off of your shortcomings as an actual player right now. Because I think lost in all the stuff we're talking about, now Jordan Poole had declined, but also Jordan Poole averaged 26 points when Steph Curry was gone. Draymond Green, when they needed him in the most important games, months and months and months removed from all of this, when he clearly, quote unquote, had his voice back, came up short.
Yep.
Now, Jordan Poole came up short as well.
Right.
He came up, like they both did. But I don't hear any accountability on actual play. And that's the thing that frustrates me. Because Draymond's wasting all of this energy on that, and he needs to focus his energy on, squaring up to the hoop from 12 feet out and hitting a free mid-range.
Right.
Finishing around the rim, staying on the court and not being in foul trouble. I don't know, doing the Rodman-like stuff you did to Sabonis to Anthony Davis. How about that? Instead of chumming it up